Welcome back to U.S. Farm Report this weekend. Okay, we asked Brian in the first roundtable, did the East make up for the lack of crop that we saw in the West? He said, bottom line, no. Do you agree with that? And is that baked into the market right now?
If the East was going to make up for the problems that we had in the West, the East was going to have to come in better than what we expected. And that did not happen. And the expectations, obviously, we don't compare what we find on Crop Tour to the USDA estimates on August 1, but the expectations are built on that farmer survey that builds the August 1 crop estimate from NASS. So that's where the expectations are. The crop hasn't gotten better in the Eastern Corn Belt from August 1. It might have come back just a bit. Out West, the crop has gone backwards since August 1. So no, there's no way that, I don't think that the East makes up for the West.
Brian, we saw the markets have some strength to start off the week. It seemed like Crop Tour was kind of fueling some of that. Was it just the results that we're seeing in Crop Tour and the disappointment in the West, or were there other factors, China and other things that were also aiding the market?
Yeah, there were other factors. I think the shock factor coming out of the West was a part of it. So keep in mind, some of this is baked in already because trend line is 181. USDA was already 4 bushels below that with their projection in July, and then they took more off of it with their estimate in August. So those that are out there looking for big chunks down from here forward, we've already taken a big chunk down. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Well, when you look at the supply situation today and the impact on prices, are we already seeing demand destruction take place, or are you nervous about what could happen in the coming months, Chip?
Oh, I'm definitely nervous about what could happen in the coming months because look at what's happening in Europe. A severe drought there. We're taking coarse grain bushels away from the market there. We've got the situation in Ukraine. The bushels that are in Ukraine right now, if we can get them out and into the export market, that's okay. That's going to help some. The bigger concern is for 2023. Are they going to be able to grow a crop in 2023? So now we're starting to look at the balance sheets and looking at how tight it is on the supply side, and you got to start thinking a year out already. We're not adding enough to the supply side of the balance sheet to take pressure off corn or soybeans or wheat. The U.S. stocks on wheat, very tight, and I don't remember how many years, but it's been a long time since we've been this tight. Cotton's going to have to bid for acres too. All of these crops are looking at tight supply side situation, and we've already cut demand after the August cut to production. It's going to be difficult if we don't have that. If we start to pull the crop back, it's going to be difficult to cut demand anywhere because it's already been done.
Well, and if we do see prices rise sharply and strong enough that we do pull back demand, how long does it take to rebuild that demand?
Yeah.
Because we will rebuild the supply. I mean, it takes one good cropping year and you've rebuilt the supply, and now you have to rebuild your demand base.
Yep.
And that takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of demand, we did see some export sales to China this week. I mean, is the general consensus that China is really short soybeans, or is it more other grains?
China gets what China needs and China wants, and the rest of the world's left with what's left. And so that's kind of how that works. And if China's buying, it's either they see value or they need supply, or both.
And which one do you think it is?
I think it's a little of both, to be honest with you.
You agree with that?
Yeah, I do. And you look at the economic conditions over there. There's China is ripe for some unrest going forward. You better keep some food in the shelves.
We've been talking about the rail issues real quick as we head into harvest. Are there any of these, you can't call it a black swan because we've been talking about it so much, and that we could see this rail strike and the impact that it would have on some of these co-ops and things in the Midwest. Is there anything that you want farmers to know as we head into harvest with some of that could play out on September 16th, right in the middle of harvest?
Well, I think, the whole transportation basis, because the futures price can do whatever it wants, but you get paid off what the cash price is. So your basis is extremely important.
Oh, if they go on strike, basis is going to bust. There just isn't going to be enough way to get enough product away from the bigger production areas. And you look at how difficult it already is to get enough feed out to the West Coast. It's going to create a lot of issues.
Okay, leave us on a high note.
Congress is going to step in and stop it.
Congress is going to step in. We don't know if it'll be 1 day, 2 days, what it'll be,
Yeah.
but leave us on a high note, Brian.
Eastern Corn Belt has a really good corn crop and may have an absolutely spectacular soybean crop.
All right.
Bidding for acres into 2023. It's going to give us some profit opportunities.
Brian, Chip, thank you so much for joining us. All right, we need to take a quick break, and then we'll have much more right here on U.S. Farm Report.
U.S. Farm Report is brought to you by RCIS. We believe in making connections count by building relationships with farmers and crop insurance agents. RCIS, we've got this. Equal opportunity provider.